Yeah, I mean, Caroline and Holly, we'll sort of open it up again to everyone here. But again, the kit gloves approach that much of the media's had to the analysis here, okay? So he took 60-40 and turned it into 40-60. He had an opportunity to split questions.
It won't be 40-60. You wait till pre-polls and postals come in. The yes vote is going to have a 3 in front of it.
Okay.
And they'll be lucky if it's a 3-8, 3-7, because it is going to be a 3 in front of the yes vote. This is an absolute debacle for Albanese. There is absolutely no way, and I am appalled to hear Stephen Conroy say that now it's time for the Prime Minister to turn his ideas, his attention to bread and butter issues like cost of living. I'm sorry, where has his attention been? This is why Australians have lost faith in this government and this Prime Minister, is because they're not interested in what is important to them. They haven't been interested in cost of living. They've absolutely gone out on a limb with their energy policy and their trillions of dollars they're putting into this whole new energy grid, whilst they've been focused on the voice, not on the families. And you look, go outside the teal seats, go outside the inner city, go to the suburban seats, the regional and the rural seats. Every single one of them was a no, because they are focused on cost of living pressures and how they put food on the table, keep the lights on and pay the school fees. And this government has no interest in that. They're only interested in their virtue signalling and their hubris, of which Albanese made the voice part of his key first-term platform.
Yeah, let's talk about Jacinta Price. Had the chance to see her in person last night, and apart from the exhaustion at the end of a campaign, certainly she and Warren Mundine have represented a certain group of people that have been leading the conversation for a long time, have ignored, pushed to one side and basically steamrolled over. Well, surprise, surprise, they were able to, in many ways, get their revenge on the same group of people that have been around largely since the 90s. She, in part, yesterday said that it's time for some new voices, new faces here to start taking on the conversation. Now, whether those new faces are Lydia Thorpe and Thomas Mayo, we'll see, but this is what she said.
I think so.
I think it's time for a new era in Indigenous policy, in the Indigenous narrative. We have to step away from grievance. Attempting to bring about change through grievance has evidently got us nowhere.
Now, Caroline, again, what I'm fascinated by is the what's next, right? So several significant Indigenous leaders have disappeared for a week. They're going to go into a week of silence, flags at half-mast on certain council buildings around the place here. And yes, Lydia Thorpe claiming it as a victory for the Black Sovereign movement. Okay, does she want to meet some of the people who voted no? 60%, I'm not entirely sure that they want to go back to the day one conversation. But what do you think about what Jacinta says? Because I think that literally millions of people have reconnected with the issue, as Matt Cunningham said, and I tell you what, whose lens they view it through, Jacinta Price's, not Marsha Langton's.
I mean, if there's one winner out of this whole referendum, it is Jacinta Price. I mean, the number of people who are now viewing her as serious potential in the future for a prime ministerial candidate is, I mean, testament to her strength throughout what has been an extremely trying campaign, where people have, even to the point, I know last night's function, she had to stay in a hotel room right up until the last point, and it had to be so small in a private area because of the threats that she was receiving. So people admire her for her strength for speaking out, and her press club speech, where she really focused on the real issues.
But they didn't talk about it. It was the question about colonialism.
Well, exactly. But the way that she handled that question was so clever and
I'm a double
witty,
victim.
and exactly. And people are still talking about that now. I think that not only is she future leadership material in terms of government, but she's certainly now viewed as a real Indigenous leader. I mean, she was already before, but for the mainstream.
Also, I mean, look, you know, again, a few people, when I was around this yesterday, the media talks, oh, well, where does it go? What does Dutton say? What Dutton says is, if you make me Prime Minister, she's the minister. She's the one in charge, all right? And I think some people find that more comforting than the sort of scare that I think many of those media people were talking amongst themselves yesterday.